The poker world is watching because today, the best of the best on the Poker Go Tour are playing for everything. For the $1 million prize pool, for the love of the competition, and for the right to be known as a champion among champions. As perhaps being where you'd like to be making new acquaintances.
I like the way you put that, Ollie.
Yeah.
New acquaintances.
Negreanu gets acquainted with Ace Jack in the form of a limp.
Yeah, no, you're actually the one person.
There's Calvin Anderson.
Maximum
Couple of
sharp on
nickels
this
limping
stuff.
as well.
I'm
Brian
just
Kim.
used to
Yeah, for sure.
on my left and
Closing
right having,
things with the
people
ace-7.
completely out to lunch on that.
Ace Queen
Speaking.
5, all diamonds. Kim outkicked.
Oh, and Anderson flopping a set here. Speaking of players who don't stick to the playbook all the time, Cal is a player who I used to refer to as poker's last cowboy.
Oh, I like that.
He can really do it.
Yeah. Him and Lonis got, similar chromosomes in the double helix.
Yeah, maybe two guys who weren't wired quite right, but in the poker world, that's a fantastic thing to have going for you.
I mean, obviously these swords are double-edged. Sometimes those deviations can be fruitful. Other times we find self-mutilation. Meanwhile, the set performing awfully well here.
Cal is putting a lot of thought into this one. Comes up with a fairly chunky bet here, considering the multi-way nature of this pot.
Well, Negreanu was the better on the flop for 6,000. Obviously nobody mucking, and now Anderson saddles up and leads for 17,000. Discombobulating for Kim, who has a diamond working, has top pair, but has concerns, of course. Now his flat, perhaps, Sylvia, providing Negreanu an opportunity to express some concern. Can you ever step away from an ace-jack without a diamond here?
If I'm Daniel Negreanu and I'm putting together two ranges of hands, it's not looking particularly great for my ace-jack, no diamond, I have to say.
He knows it, but he is going to call perhaps this a function of awareness with respect to Anderson's unorthodox procedures. Board pairing queen on the end. Kim's kicker improves to a 9. Anderson fills up and has this one by the throat.
This is sort of the upside to this unusual lead by Cal. He has befuddled both players to some extent, and you can see it from Negreanu. He didn't want to flick the chips in, but he's like, I don't really know what's going on here. I better not let it go quite yet.
Yep.
It's easy to imagine Cal being up to something here rather than just having it after flatting flop and leading out on the turn.
Well, adorned with what appear to be the spoils of a Buddhist gift shop. Anderson barrels once more, 17,000. Hopefully that's ethically sourced jade, by the way. Although I guess there is no such thing as unethically sourced jade. It's not ivory. Anyway, I digress.
I gotta say, I don't know enough about jade to contest any of that, Ollie. I'm not on the right level there.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. All of a sudden, this pot gets a whole lot more interesting courtesy of a Negreanu raise to 135. And listen, fives, yes, it's a full house. It isn't a comfortable feeling, though. Anderson accepting his fate in the event that pocket aces or ace queen belong to Negreanu here. It's not like I expected to have my hand raised in the ring and have my name on the marquee as a result. It's not a battle I want to win.
They don't give you a plaque on the wall like when you eat a very hot meal at Mint.
No. In fact, I think they 86 you from the spa. Meanwhile, Seiver with a mysterious 2 card, influencing a 3-bet to 27,000. And for Anderson on the button with ace-queen off, things have gotten slightly awkward.
60, he said.
But he decides to volley, and the awkwardness now gets toggled right back over to the other participants. You saw prompt release from Kim and Sovrel, and we await Seiver's durability.
Seiver appears to have picked up a number of chips since we last came over to this table. I think he ended the last hand around 180.
All in.
Oof.
Uh-oh.
It's not what Cal wanted to hear.
No, ace-queen in particular really
This is 220.
is an uncomfortable one.
50.
He is going to make the call, though, and he's run into needles. Seiver
Crazy.
poised to really make a meal out of Anderson's chips. You see him shaking his head there. A bit of a cooler. Seiver, by the way, is capable of this maneuver without stone top of range, especially against Anderson and Cal. The trickiness for a player like him is he knows what people's perceptions are of him. And so every now and again he needs to dig in. And he's going to need a lot more than a shovel to dig out on this King 4-3 board. Running spades
Look,
would do the trick.
When Seiver said all in, Cal wasn't feeling, oh, wow, that's quite a turn card.
Yeah, sopping wet.
I mean, I expected to lose from the start. I'm honestly not going to sweating this one.
Seiver
Scott.
with poor premonitions here. Is Cal going to put an ugly one on Scott and shower him?
To lose from the start, so I'm not
Queen or
really
a spade
sweating
would do it.
it. Later, guys. 2621.
And the 8 of diamonds
220,
allows Scott to exhale.
50.
I don't know
Annual
who's
subscriber.
What's that?
Annual subscriber.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Not to be
annual
confused with you monthly nits. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not, subscribers
Yeah,
are
I used to
subscribers,
be
but
like 1,800.
you're
and
not
I have
eligible
like a 1,500
to win yourself a seat into this
And now I'm like 1650,
Briar
1660.
patch.
Yeah, exactly.
unless you're an annual
It's kind of the
sub.
worst of all worlds.
Meanwhile,
I just want to say, I don't know who's
Yeah,
listening.
but then it's like easy wins
I'm
are
also an
impossible,
annual
sort of
subscriber.
based on like my state of mind.
I don't know
Not easy, but you know what I mean.
if we have some fine print
Yeah,
that
yeah,
might
That's
prevent
true.
you, Jesse, from having your name drawn out of the hat.
That's actually really true.
What would the fine print look? It's just no Jesse.
Yeah, I'm much better at three.
I don't know that it's a no Jesse policy, but, I can't lose all
Gotcha.
prospective color commentators to this
Yeah.
field.
Yeah, it's like my standard rating is like.
Meanwhile,
15
Kim's
and my
3-bet
one
not
is
going to
like
lose
1950 or
Anderson's
something, or
pocket
2000.
nines, as the open to 8 was made to look like
Oh, yeah, yeah,
25.
You just can't do anything.
Nines
really
holding
fast.
on with one overcard out there.
Yeah.
I appreciate your kind words, Ollie. I'd miss you too
Yeah.
if you were in the field.
Listen,
Correct.
don't leave me
so
out here
emotionally
alone
fucking
trying to
invested, I
unpack
can't do it.
what we're
I already
observing.
tilted on a 3-minute game, but at least I can just wash it away instantly. I can't play those long games and like
I'm going to
really
call
end
the
up
action,
caring.
Jesse. You do your best to
Emotionally
explain it.
devastating shit.
I will do my best, Ollie. Actually, this
Yeah,
is,
correct.
as far as
Exactly.
overcards on a board go, this is a pretty nice board for Cal. A lot going on for his hand.
Well, how about this turn card here as Kim followed through for 18. Cal sticks around and turns himself a gut shot versus the open ender, which he is blocking unbeknownst.
This turn card presents a real decision for Brian Kim here. Betting, obviously, generally the root players take, but you have to consider your stack size and the fact that if you bet here and your opponent goes all in, you don't want to be left without a plan. And so if you're going to bet, you generally want to pick a size where you've committed your stack,
Yeah.
given how strong your hand is, or find a somewhat tricky check back and risk losing the pot. Yeah, he just fires in a big bet.
Resisting the temptation to check back and realize equity, the 60K now leaves nines with a decision. I mean, this is a very draw-heavy texture where a lot of those big ace X's could continue to lean, in particular the ones that have spades involved as well. So Anderson, mindful of that range, does call another 120 into a pot that now grows to 216,000, an arid 4 of diamonds on the end.
Wow, Cal called that river. Sorry, Cal called that turn. That is such a tongue twister, by the way. Cal called that turn awfully quickly. Might put a little fear into Brian Kim, although he does have a great combo to run the triple barrel with.
Yeah,
Blocking
I mean,
King Jack, King 10, Queen Jack, Queen 10.
And by the way, those are hands that could very well succumb to the full 110 on the river here. I mean, remember, Kim 3-bet pre and has barreled off on 2 streets now. This third one starts to really make you wonder if it isn't Queens Plus you're contending with.
Yeah.
And despite the dry look on his face, I actually think all of this is running through Brian's mind right now.
Oh, look at the fearless BK.
Wow.
Sending all but a pinky out there. And by the way, listen, Anderson isn't a snap folder in these spots.
No, and I gotta say, bluffing Cal is a very scary endeavor.
It really is. Now, the thing about the line is you really don't expect any Jack X or 10X to be associated with this. And so you begin to ask yourself, set of 10s, set of Jacks that filled up, or the overpair. But again, I return to the big ace X combos, in particular in spades.
Mm-hmm. There are plenty of bluffs to choose from here. You've got your king queens, your ace queens. You've got some hands like ace 8 suited. There are some ace 9s that exist.
These are being blocked, of course.
Yeah.
Oh, and that's relief there for Brian Kim, who knows king high is never a
You
winner.
should show a BK.
If Cal clicks call,
Come out of recovery before leaving again.
A long read.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
What is that? It's 26?
I never planned ahead.
You can't in that context.
I'm a last minute planner with everything.
Sicko, one of the Dream Seat winners here, courtesy of being a Poker Go annual subscriber.
Figuring it out. To lose one in a spot that's not that difficult, right?
82?
Opens to 26,000 and now is confronted by a 3-bet from Jim Collopy on the button. Pocket 10s, it all checks out. And let's see how Sicko looks to respond. We know that ace kings tend to like to get chips forward.
Can't imagine this isn't going in. Although we don't know a lot about Sicko or how he plays.
All in.
There we go.
I like that. A little bit of moxie and fearlessness on display.
Boy, if he were to win this pot.
I'm telling you what. 1 million chips in the middle. And effectively the fate of both hang in the balance. Even though Sicko cannot be eliminated, 34,000 is not a whole lot to work with.
This gentleman.
He's got a little more.
Should he not find the W. Collopy ahead. Shy of 3 to 2.
Actually, it's very close.
Eventually, it actually is going to matter, like almost no matter what.
There's the king. Not out of the woods, though. Sicko reacts not at all. Recognizing that a 10 or a queen would spoil the fun. Trip kings on the turn, and yet A 10 or a queen still remain outs for Collopy. He needs to hit to keep his seat, and he finds the queen on the end. Heartbreak City for the Dream Seat winner. Not quite yet over at the outer, though. We've got Winter and Haxton involved. Top 2 for Sean against an ace high, which is c-betting. For Haxton, the pre-flop razor to 10,000. Winter defended.
17-5 total. 17-5.
Believe the check raise has come in. Yes, there it is, 17,500.
Haxton with just enough hand here to continue. Strong ace high, backdoor flush draw, backdoor straight draw. Really nice price here.
All in.
Whoa.
Call.
Ike decides to 3-bet get Sean all in here, a non-believer. But there was no amount of muscle that was going to detach Winter from kings and fives. So this could be a really lovely way for Sean to end the frame. Quite the contrary for Ike, though, who is drawing dead on the river. So Sean's going to count it down, and he's going to carbon copy his stack. Bleznick, queen 10 suited.
You kind of got to pay that almost every year because it gets cold enough that the cement
He
expands.
came along in this pot where Angelov made it 22,000 pre, Tolerine flatted. 8-5 deuce board, 2 overs, and the club draw. Blez decided to lead into the field for 36. Angelov wagging his finger with these jacks to 97. And Bleznick is going to jam. Angelov does not hesitate to make the call. Blez has decent equity here, 43% with 2 to come. A live queen, clubs to do the trick as well, 650K pot.
I'm like, I know you don't have much because you haven't turned it over. That makes sense.
I'm not sure if I've ever seen Bleznick lose one of these, Ollie. I'll be real with you.
If he does, Jesse, I would imagine he will hold you accountable now.
That's fair. This one's on me, Blez.
You've clicked your heels and ridden the broom.
I'm being serious. He's being serious.
Wow, Blez is saying you want to put more out there. He wants side action on himself.
I'm telling you, I've never
Okay, how much you want to bet?
been more confident in 43% in my life.
Okay, that's nice.
Well, the turn now takes that 43% down a big peg to 25.
I know Alex
Was that perhaps technical sorcery? Designed to ensure a queen or club rolls off? No, as running fours send the Blez packing. Meanwhile, we've got one breaking out in serious fashion back at the feature where Kim started things off with a raise to 24,000, king 9 suited. Lonis ripped in ace queen off, and now Weisman has aces.
150,
This
correct?
flat looks so strong.
149. Yeah, thank you. Pass.
Well, this is going to be RIP to Lonis unless he finds a lot of this board.
Oh, man. Rest of the field melts away, and perhaps Lonis's hopes of a payday here in the PGT Championship are not far behind.
Putting that one away for later.
I wasn't sure if I was supposed to shove or call.
You made the right decision. Don't fold.
Good advice. He should split them. You always split aces.
I'm not greedy.
350K pot listing so heavily toward Weisman. Oh, but no longer.
my goodness.
Hello, ladies.
What, a queen 10?
I rolled a queen 10, I swear.
Lonis finds trip queen. Someone's saying they folded queen 10. I didn't clock
Stay away
it.
from the cuties.
That makes it even uglier.
Bad bees give me problems.
Jesse Lonis, man.
He could be heartbroken still by the only remaining ace in the deck. Is there a one-outer available? No. Man,
I think you get, yeah, 1K.
an
then. It's one-
unjust
He rounded up.
sensation for Weisman. Oh boy.
Oh no.
Foxen versus Foxen violence, the classic here. Ace King against Queens. Advantage Kristen.
So 5, 6, 7.
A little domestic dispute
Yeah, 5, 6, 7.
for 630K.
Queen 7 deuce.
I
rooting
love
for
that.
that.
I can hear in her voice that she's like, yes, please, I want the Queen 7 dude.
I do want the Queen 7.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're Alex, who are you rooting for here?
I mean, it kind of doesn't matter, right? Although I don't
Yes.
know, are the accounts shared over at the Foxen household? Unclear.
I don't know their
I don't want to know. It's their business.
particular economic situation, but
I know their situation in his hand, and it ain't great for Alex.
As Schulman would say, it's the 10-10 lose.
I know he'd still have a lot of chips and he'd be happy to see his wife doing well, so there is that.
I don't know. I think he wouldn't mind an ace or king on the turn, if
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
being honest.
Get the blood spiking.
Okay,
I mean, he's a competitive enough guy.
Oh, yeah.
If the river's a 7,
I'm going to be a little bit worried.
Actually, I called the turn river on the other table.
Can Kristen hold against her hubby? Yes.
Unlucky, only a 5, not a 7. It's like 3.
I think it's 297.
So Kristen doubles through, and the rest of the table getting a kick out of that. Final 2 tables. Queen 9 suited on the button. 255 in the stack.
I feel like he's been sitting on 255 all day.
Winter-esque grind. He does announce all in. Halfway home. Ausmus with an ace in the big, and let's see. He does not hesitate to make the call. Understanding that jamming range from the button will include hands that the ace-5 is ahead of, as it is on this occasion. By 8%. Could be worse for Nick. 540,000.
Lady Gaga.
Let's go, Nick.
Looking for a queen.
Wow. You got that chip trick in your arsenal?
Listen, he's one of the best at it, by the way.
What if it gets to the point where it's just like 15 minutes before there's a board, like in the future?
They just never do it. Wow.
A 9. Says hello. And the King 9 trade texture. Now Nick just needs to fade an ace, something that Sean Winter wasn't able to do against Ausmus. Turn, tidy. Take the ace of spades off of the board. Just 2 outs between Schulman and a double. Job done as the backdoor spades come in for good measure.
Suddenly, Nick has some chips.
Couple of aces up. Colliding as Chidwick found a 6 on the turn. May think it's gin, but it's nothing more than tonic as Weisman flop top 2 and holds the lead. Pre-flop, Chidwick made it 45,000. Weisman 3-bet to 115. Chidwick dug in, check called 80 on the flop, and now faces 190 after having checked again on the turn.
This is brutal from these positions.
You hate when a man beats you into the pot after those 2 syllables cross your lips, and that's exactly where Chidwick finds himself, and more often than not, you are behind, as he is here. And could this be the end of the mighty Stephen Chidwick's run? Bar a 6 on the river. That will indeed be the case. No fault of his. Just a cold hand of poker that doesn't warm up on the river. When she says 10 seconds, she means it, as Schulman has no time banks, but he does have aces. Makes it 80. Ausmus suited and connected. No thanks. Foxen with Queen Jack.
It's a little awkward when Schulman raises on this sort of stack size. He has a very polar range.
As we can see, it's absolute top. Foxen defends and finds herself second pair, monotone texture. The Jack of Diamonds, the second nut flush draw, but guess where number 1 flush draw is? Across the way as an overpair.
Yeah, this is quite the terrible hand to be up against.
Yeah.
Aces with the ace of diamonds.
There's no hatch for the time being.
Would expect her to find a check call here just because the queen is such a middling hand and you're not really worried about your opponent drawing out on you when they are behind. Like if they have something like,
10 seconds.
I don't know, let's just say, you know, ace-5 offsuit with no diamond. They have so few outs, you're happy to just let them continue betting.
Sure. 55K check called.
Nick better do something quickly. Oh, he checks.
Wow.
That check may make him some money. I mean, Chrissy was clearly calling a turn bet, but...
Is she betting this river on account of the check back on the turn ever?
She has one of the best queens. I think it's a reasonable option.
Does King X check back on the turn much?
Does what check back?
King X for Nick, the kind of hand that she might be concerned about?
I would expect it to check more on the flop if it's going to check, but, but turn check seems fine. Oh, she puts out the little 1 big blind block. I like this.
Oh, let's see how long it stays 40K. Have to imagine this is the kind of run out where Nick just can't help but raise, right?
Yeah, I would imagine against 1 big blind we're always raising. This is so awkward for Nick having no time.
10 seconds.
What are we going, 225?
Better make a move quickly.
Everything but a chip? Okay, everything but a chip.
Alex appears to be looking on here, deeply interested, obviously, in wifey's decision.
10 seconds.
I'm leaning towards she folds, but when you use this many time extensions, you often feel committed.
Time extension.
This is an absolute inferno of time banks here. A funeral pyre. Did she say call?
I think she did. Wow.
Flustered perhaps by the lack of any additional extensions. I think she had gone through the last one, hurriedly announced call, and leaves herself with just 115,000. Alex with ace king. Got it all in the middle in a great way against Weisman's ace-5 here. 1.75 million chip pot.
I'm unpaired. A good hand.
All right, so being
No
told that
pair.
this hand will
It's a
get
good
run
read.
out first.
The other guy. The other guy.
The other player.
Oh, so close. 4.
4 hearts.
I'll take
Flop is safe for Alex.
That's probably a good start. 4 hearts.
Offers a sporting turn.
Oh my goodness.
That is filthy. A 5. Cutting deep into the hopes of Alex Foxen, who now must find a cowboy.
Good game, Alex. Unlucky.
And instead, it's 3 5s. Unlucky indeed.
Very lucky.
1 Foxen down and perhaps 1 to go. This would make it a rough night at that household if Kristen were to end up bubbling here right on the heels of hubby. She's taken the worst of it in a 310K pot.
This
As
would
it's
be
happening all of a
really
sudden.
sick, man.
Jesse, this would be one for the ages in a way. Oh, no.
not nothing and you win.
What happened?
Ace king two versus ace 5-0.
Oh my god.
Uh-oh.
That is not a good flop for Chrissy.
Oh, no. This is going to be a long car ride back to Casa Foxen, barring some sort of help on the turn, which doesn't arrive. And
jeez,
that
dude.
is a brisk pace being assumed there by the Foxens as they are dispatched 1-2